Hi, 7th grade. It's week 2. We survived week 1. 2 more to go until we are back in the classroom together. I appreciate all the questions and just reaching out that you guys have done. I've taken a look at some of the work while it's not all graded yet, and I can tell that you are working hard, and that's really what I want to see. If you need to talk face-to-face, and that's a lot of times a lot easier for us, please find a time on that Zoom sheet, and I will know when to contact you and send you the link so we can chat. This week we're going to read Echo and Narcissus, which is a Greek myth. These characters are probably famous. You've probably heard of them, even if you don't really remember why. So as you read the story, start to think of characters in literature that you've read, so you can start to compare them. That's your essay, comparing either Echo or Narcissus to someone that you've read in a different piece of literature. These characters are used a lot in things that we read, which is called an allusion. You should remember that. So you'll start to put things together as you read the story. The vocab words are on page 289. They are detain, vainly, unrequited, parched, and intently. And the story starts on page 290. So if you are following along, find that page. Here we go. Up on the wild, lonely mountains of Greece lived the Oreades, the nymphs or fairies of the hill, and among them one of the most beautiful was called Echo. She was one of the most talkative too, and once she talked too much and angered Hera, wife of Zeus, king of the gods. When Zeus grew tired of the golden halls of Mount Olympus, the home of the immortal gods, he would come down to earth and wander with the nymphs on the mountains. Hera, however, was jealous and often came to see what he was doing. It seemed strange at first that she always met Echo, and that Echo kept her listening for hours on end to her stories and her gossip. But at last Hera realized that Echo was doing this on purpose to detain or hold back or delay her while Zeus went quietly back to Olympus as if he had never really been away. So nothing can stop you talking, exclaimed Hera. Well, Echo, I do not intend to spoil your pleasure, but from this day on you shall be able only to repeat what other people say and never speak unless someone else speaks first. Hera returned to Olympus, well pleased with the punishment she had made for Echo, leaving the poor nymph to weep sadly among the rocks on the mountainside, and speak only the words which her sisters and their friends shouted happily to one another. She grew used to her strange fate after a while, but then a new misfortune befell her. There was a beautiful youth called Narcissus, who was the son of a nymph and the god of a nearby river. He grew up in the plain of Thebes until he was 16 years old and then began to hunt on the mountains toward the north where Echo and her sisters, Oreades, lived. As he wandered through the woods and valleys, many a nymph looked upon him and loved him, but Narcissus laughed at them scornfully, for he loved only himself. Farther up the mountains Echo saw him, and at once her lonely heart was filled with the love for the beautiful youth, so that nothing else in the world mattered but to win him. Now she wished indeed that she could speak to him words of love, but the curse which Hera had placed upon her tied her tongue, and she could only follow wherever he went, hiding behind trees and rocks and feasting her eyes vainly upon him. Vainly here means uselessly, without result, and we are on page 292, second paragraph. One day Narcissus wandered farther up the mountain than usual, and all his friends and the other Theban youths were left far behind. Only Echo followed him, still hiding among the rocks, her heart heavy with unspoken love. Presently Narcissus realized that he was lost and hoped to be heard by his companions or perhaps some mountain shepherd. He called out loudly, "Is there anybody here?" "Here!" cried Echo. Narcissus stood still in amazement, looking all around in vain. Then he shouted even more loudly, "Whoever you are, come to me!" "Come to me!" cried Echo eagerly. Still no one was visible, so Narcissus called again. "Why are you avoiding me?" Echo repeated his words, with a sob in her breath, and Narcissus called once more. "Come here, I say, and let us meet." "Let us meet!" cried Echo, her heart leaping with joy as she spoke the happiest words that had left her lips since the curse of Hera had fallen upon her. And to make good on her word, she came running out from behind the rocks and tried to clasp her arms about him. Remember that she can only repeat the words that someone repeats to her. That was her curse. But Narcissus flung the beautiful nymph away from him in scorn. "Away with these embraces," he cried angrily, his voice full of cruel contempt. "I would die before I would have you touch me." "I would have you touch me," repeated poor Echo. "Never will I let you kiss me." "Kiss me, kiss me," echoed murmured Echo, sinking down among the rocks as Narcissus cast her violently from him and sped down the hillside. One touch of those lips would kill me, he called back furiously over his shoulder. Kill me, begged Echo. And Aphrodite, the goddess of love, heard her and was kind to her, for she had been a true lover. Quietly and painlessly, Echo pined away and died. But her voice lived on, lingering among the rocks, and answered faintly whenever Narcissus or another called. He shall not go unpunished for this cruelty, said Aphrodite. By scorning poor Echo like this, he scorns love itself. And scorning love, he insults me. He is altogether eaten up with self-love. Well, he shall love himself and no one else, and yet shall die of unrequited love. Unrequited means not returned in kind. It was not long before Aphrodite made good on her threat, and in a very strange way. One day, tired after hunting, Narcissus came to a still, clear pool of water away on the mountainside, not far from where he had scorned Echo, and left her to die of a broken heart. With a cry of satisfaction, for the day was hot and cloudless, he was parched with thirst. Parched means very hot and dry. Narcissus flung himself down beside the pool and leaned forward to dip his face in the cool water. Top of page 293. What was his surprise to see a beautiful face looking upon him through the still waters of the pool. The moment he saw, he loved, and the love was a madness upon him so that he could think of nothing else. Beautiful water nymph, he cried, I love you, be mine. Desperately he plunged his arms into the water, but the face vanished, and he touched only the pebbles at the bottom of the pool. Drawing out his arms, he gazed intently down. Intently means with great concentration. As the water grew still again, saw once more the face of his beloved. Poor Narcissus did not know that he was seeing his own reflection, for Aphrodite hid this knowledge from him, and perhaps this was the first time that the pool of water had reflected the face of anyone gazing into it. Narcissus seemed enchanted by what he saw. He could not leave the pool, but lay by its side day after day, looking at only the face in the world of which he loved and could not win, and pining just as Echo had pined. Slowly Narcissus faded away, and at last his heart broke. Woe is me, for I loved in vain, he cried. I loved in vain, sobbed the voice of Echo among the rocks. Farewell, my love, farewell, were his last words, and Echo's voice broke its whisper, shivered into silence. My love, farewell. So Narcissus died, and the earth covered his bones. But with the spring, a plant pushed its green leaves through the earth where he lay. As the sun shone on it, a bud opened, and a new flower blossomed for the first time. A white circle of petals around a yellow center. The flower grew and spread, waving in the gentle breeze which whispered among them, like Echo herself come to kiss the blossom of the first Narcissus flower. That is the end of the story. The questions that you need to reflect on and answer are on page 294, and then you also need to compare one of those characters, either Echo or Narcissus, to another character in literature. Now, obviously, the same exact thing is not going to happen to the character that you're thinking of, but you can think of the vanity that Narcissus had, and Echo doesn't seem to be able to be quiet, and her mouth gets her in trouble. So think of those character traits as you look at the story and come up with a character in literature that you can compare one of them to. You don't have to do both. So if you have questions, remember to keep reaching out to me. I would love to chat, and I need to know how you're doing and what you're struggling with so I can help. Also, take a break. Don't forget to get up, stretch your legs, go outside, get some sunshine. Just like we do at school, you need to take a break from the work as well so you can come back and do it really well. Reach out if you have questions. Hopefully we will be back together soon, guys.